And you are now tuned into My Skin is My Sin presents another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio. And today we have the honor and privilege of welcoming student minister Troy Muhammad to the conversation. How you doing, King?
Doing just fine. Feeling good and honored to be on your show, dear brother.
Oh, you already know, man. Always an honor, man. How's the family?
Everybody's doing well, man. Got my granddaughter in the background and everybody else walking around the house somewhere.
Man, grandbabies are beautiful, ain't they?
There they are, because you can send them home at a certain.
Man, I was just about to say. um, and you got a chance to open up the mosque for the first time in a while, correct?
Yes, sir. We opened up on the 14th. All the mosques around the nation were blessed to be back open again. Uh, and the blessing is that, you get to pass on that word again in a very serious time where people are looking for answers or at least, searching for an understanding of what they already know. And the Nation of Islam and the guidance of Minister Farrakhan today, it really breaks it down so a person can understand it a lot better than what we or most of us grew up listening to. So, it's been an honor and privilege to be able to do that. And, we didn't stop working during the course
Mm-hmm.
of COVID. We continued to feed our people, passing out food, passing out over 100,000 masks and PPE, making sure the community was safe. Um, but to open the doors again was a blessing, and we had a full house, man. It was beautiful.
That's what's up, man. I had to work, man, because I absolutely wanted to be there. Um, what's the state of Black America for you right now?
Well, unfortunately, um,
Mm,
you know, if you, I remember hearing the minister talk about the march on Washington that Dr. King had, and
mm.
the theme of it or the request was for jobs, justice. You know, we still don't have jobs and we still don't have justice. So the condition hasn't changed too much.
Mm-hmm.
I do see something that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said years ago in a lecture in a book called Back Where We Belong. He said that black people were being shaped to be the new world rulers.
Hmm.
Um, and it's based upon the concept and the idea that because you're at the end of racism, when you come on top, you won't be racist. Because you're experiencing poverty, you better understand poverty. So you don't want to see poverty. You understand what I'm saying? And we're being shaped in a way for leadership. We're
Mm-hmm.
through what we're going through so that we can be a better representation of humanity. When you talk about a president who said that he got $1 million loan from his father, talking about Donald Trump. See, a
Must
man
be
like,
nice.
he can't relate to you
No,
or me,
no,
you
no.
know. The Joe Bidens who grew up in these types of societies and groups, they can't relate. So, it's a different thing. Then you have a Barack Obama who comes in who's trying to disprove this angry black male type thing. So he's trying to be a president for everybody, you know.
Right.
And then it just doesn't work out because the white people don't want him as president, so they're not budging on their issues. So when you look at the state of Black America, I see um, us on the surface. It looks like we're in the same condition,
Mm-hmm.
but we're being developed underneath.
Okay.
When you see our hip hop community, uh, you don't just, you can't just look at a Jay Z, for instance, or Sean Combs or Russell Simmons, for instance, and just see them, but you have to look at all the people that they've connected, all the families that they've put on, all
Absolutely.
millionaires, the black young millionaires that they've made. And then that expands outward. So now you have a Jay-Z that's a billionaire, Kanye West a billionaire, Winfrey that's a billionaire, you know, and this stuff, it translates to other black billionaires and other black millionaires. And now
Mm-hmm.
about, you know, having that consciousness developed in them that this world seems to try to take out of us. But I think that Black America has grown, has developed. We still have a lot of the same problems, but I think that underneath it all, we're maturing.
Although, just me personally, when
Hmm.
it's our turn in power here, I don't know if I'd be as nice about things. Let's put it that way. Like I'm pissed about some shit, and I kind of want to get it off my chest, and y'all may have to feel a little pain.
Understood. And it's a lot of people that feel that way, you know. But, you know, vengeance. You know, right now we don't love ourselves.
Yeah,
So we're quick to hurt one another in a vengeful way.
facts.
But if you look at a 400-year-old enemy that's done nothing for us, we never strike back. You know,
No.
so that's something that has to change eventually. But I think the end result overall will be a more balanced humanity because you have to have leaders who kind of understand, you know, what the
Mhm.
mass is going through. They have to understand and even experience what the masses are going through in order to serve the masses properly.
Yeah, yeah. I get it. I guess I'm a little bit more petty than the average individual.
That's why it's petty radio, right?
Exactly. So let's say with Ahmaud Arbery's case, though the three white guys get off. What should Black America's response be? Because thus far, it's the same shit happening over. Excuse my language. The same thing over and over, and we get upset for a week or two, and it goes away.
Well, that's the unfortunate response is that we do that, and we've done it
Mm.
over again. And you saw it with Rodney King, or like in Detroit, I was having
Malice Green.
yeah, I was having a conversation with two great black politicians in Detroit.
Hmm.
We're talking about the election, and it was at the time it was Coleman Young Jr. running against uh, Mike Duggan, I believe.
Hmm.
And you know, overall, everybody kind of knew that Coleman wasn't going to win this race.
Right.
The politician told me, he said all he needs to get is 25% of the vote. And I said, well, you know what would that mean? He said he gets 25% of the vote, it'll make the white investors understand that this white mayor doesn't have a hold on the city that he talks about having. And in
Mm.
their minds, they remember that it only took one match to burn the whole city down.
Yeah.
So that's the mindset that, you know, those types of rebellions cause, because
Hmm.
they understand that the power is in the people. And when we flare up like that, it's just a reminder that the power is in the people. Now, it hasn't been always directed properly,
Yeah.
but you know, it shows that the power is in the people. Black people make up 70-80% of this planet, but yet we're still considered minorities. And these are terms that kind of limit our thinking. Because when you are the majority of the planet, all you have to do is stand up
Yeah.
to take power.
Yeah.
But power has been taken from us by making us think that we're minorities and things like that. So, you know, if they beat the case, it's more the same thing that we've been seeing, which takes us back to Marcus Garvey saying,
Hmm.
let's go. It takes us back to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad saying, let's go. It takes us back to the minister saying, hey, man, separate and be saved. We have to do something for ourselves.
That's a
And
tough one though, because I don't know anywhere we could go collectively that would just be okay with 40 million black folks.
well, 40 million. He gave an example at the last in Cobra meeting that
Hmm.
we here in Detroit,
Hmm.
and he said, "Man, if you guys are serious about uh, nationalism and creating your own, you know,
Hmm.
we become masters of getting people to vote, organizing voters. That's what we've become."
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, you just pick a state in the South, and then we ride down on that state, man. And we all, strategically move to a certain state, and then we start electing the people that we want to elect, and
Hmm.
start creating that vibe we really want to create. That's if you're serious, if you really want to do it, if you're not just talking the talk,
Hmm.
or you just want to pass out the flyers. That's one thing. But if you seriously want to do it, you construct a plan to get it done, man. And it's
Okay.
just about the organizing that we're doing all over the country for the Democratic Party or for this program, that program. Why can't we do it for ourselves? Why
That's a
not
good question.
place in Mississippi and say, let's go down here? Okay, it's
Oh,
enough of us now. We start buying the houses, and then we start putting our people in political positions. And then we start changing the things that kind of shape us.
yeah.
You see it a bit in Atlanta, but that's a very watered down
Yeah.
uh, thing there. That's more about business and fashion and entertainment. You know, but to really establish something beautiful, it would take that type of mindset to do, and we can do it because we're doing it for everybody else but ourselves.
We absolutely are. Although I would stick in the Great Lakes area. Just
Okay,
my 2 cents.
that's what you like. That's what you like.
It's not even that, it's the natural water.
Okay.
When the shit hits the fan in this country, this area that we're in is going to be like the area that everybody want to live in.
Well, see, that's why the conversation would have to be not emotional but strategic,
Yes.
where you get the best minds together. So those things, like you just mentioned, can be discussed. What type, how's the soil? Can we grow our own food?
Yeah.
All of these things have to be considered. Do we have the ability to create the factory system? And what natural resources are on this land that we can utilize that can help us become self-sustaining? A lot of things have to be considered.
You think we'll ever get there?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. We too beautiful not to. You know, a lot, the great things that you see that we're doing now, it's like we're stumbling on them. We stumble on our greatness. It's not strategic. We don't plan it. Strategic and planning is what you saw Joe Jackson do with the Jackson Five. Strategic and planning is what you saw Richard do with Venus and Serena. Strategic and planning is what you saw Earl Woods do with Tiger Woods. To take a child at a certain age and start programming them to be a certain thing and to touch the world in a certain way. We have those three examples, and I'm pretty sure we could find more, but you can look at
Facts.
those three examples and see how fathers got involved in the life of children and structured something for those children and produced gods, man. In every
Man,
in every one of those cases, man, those children have affected the entire world.
facts.
So if it can
Facts.
be done, once you can do it again, and you can do it again and again and again. Yeah, we can do it. If you look at the Million Man March, you had over 1 million black men who they say was the worst in society. They came together on the mall on that day. It wasn't no fighting. Dolph
What
ain't get
what
killed.
happened though
Man,
after the Million Man March? Why was that not the lighter to the gas, so to speak, for our communities?
because the what they wanted. When Dr. King's march was a beautiful march,
Hmm.
but the number was only 250,000 people, which was a great number.
Right.
It's only 250,000. So when Minister Farrakhan calls for 1 million, black men, they knew he wasn't going to do that. They didn't
Mhm.
think that was going to happen. So all the cameras were there, CNN, C-SPAN, this show, that show. Everybody was there, man. But when the sun came up on that day, it was
Mhm.
a sea of black men. Now, the question you would have to ask is why didn't they give him any more coverage starting the day after? You know, if you have,
But why
if
didn't
you're,
we as black people give him more coverage
if you're,
starting the day after?
if you're having problems in communities
Hmm.
with young black males, why wouldn't you call and ask the man who called the Million Man March, who produced a sea of men, over 1 million on one day, and no violence was recorded on that mall? You know what I mean? Love was recorded on that mall. You know, a
Yeah,
million men. It's only 700,000 people in Detroit.
true, true.
So if he could transform that, a million men like that for 24 hours, you could do it for 48. You can do it for a week. You can do it for a month. It can be done. That's a glimpse
Hmm.
of our potential.
Hmm.
Not just the
Okay.
million men on the mall, but you also had black businesses on that mall that they were supporting. You know? So everybody was supporting one another. That day showed us what we could potentially do in the same way where Joe Jackson showed us what you could potentially do if you take control of your children. Richard showed us what we can do if we took control of our children. Earl Woods showed us what we can do if we take control of our children. So we have examples all around us. But those examples have to be lifted. So Joe Jackson is made to look crazy.
Hmm.
You know, Richard, Serena, Richard Williams, made to look crazy. You know, the minister made to look crazy. 3, 4 men who did incredible things, man. And you would have to then ask yourself why. Who doesn't want this to happen? Why, after the march, was a total blackout? Our
Hmm.
communication to our people is through the Final Call newspaper, the main communication. But now with YouTube and things like that, we have to
Hmm.
get out a bit more. But I would have to question that.
Has social media been a good thing for the nation?
Um, Definitely. Whenever you can put positive words out,
Hmm.
I mean, you reach more people. I mean, TD Jakes has reached more people than Jesus 2,000 years ago, because Jesus, he didn't have a social media system. He didn't even have a car to get around. So he walked wherever he went. So I would have to say that, men like TD Jakes have been able to expand on the mission of Jesus. And in the same sense with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan being the spokesman of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he's been able to expand that reach through his words, through the words of his representatives like Minister Ishmael Muhammad, Minister Nuri Muhammad, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, Minister Ava Muhammad. Some great, brother. You have brother like Reza Islam and brother Ben X. They're hitting the social media, and they're reaching more people than we would normally be able to reach. People who may not ever think about coming to a mosque, but they could scroll down and hear a clip. And
Hmm.
sometimes all you need to hear is a clip. So it's been great.
When we gonna get the Nation of Islam Facebook? And I don't even say Facebook. I'm just using that as an example.
Well, we have what's called Final Call Radio now.
Hmm.
We have NFA Studios. Both of those produce positive information
Hmm.
to the people through the airwaves. Then you have magazines by like Sister Audrey Muhammad, Virtue Magazine. It's a very good magazine. And of course, the Final Call newspaper. All of these are independent black owned entities that's trying hard to get the word to our people. And I'm pretty sure it's more, but these are the mainstream ones that I know about that
Hmm.
we're working on and backing.
When you found out you were going to be the student minister for Mosque number one, what was your first reaction?
Man, I didn't. I never really considered it
Mm-hmm.
because I was the assistant to one of the sons of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, a man named Rasul
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad. And Minister Rasul Muhammad is a very intelligent, articulate, and a beautiful human being who loves the teachings of his father and who loves the minister and who, one of the greatest teachers I've ever heard in my life. So just assisting a man like that, you never even consider that he'd be gone and
Mm-hmm.
you'd be taking his place. You never think like that. So when it happened, that the thought of that wasn't on my mind because that was never the goal that I was shooting for. I was just coming to help.
Mm-hmm.
Let me help this brother. Let me aid this brother. Uh, Now in retrospect, 9 years later, I could look back on it and I'm like, wow. I look at the journey and where my journey has placed me. I always talk about, the Malcolm X story,
Mm-hmm.
a great story of a man who went to prison and, made some bad decisions and
Yeah.
he accepted the teachings and it helped him change his life around. Well, the truth is, uh, a lot of Malcolm X's in the Nation of Islam today
Mm-hmm.
get the same coverage, and of course, it's a different time period. But you and when I say Malcolm X, I'm talking about the man who was transformed at his lowest state and been able to turn himself around.
Mm-hmm.
So back on that stuff now, and I'm just, I'm in awe and I'm thankful to God because it's a story I couldn't write myself. So he had to be involved in every step of the way, man. And I'm just grateful and thankful when I travel the world and meet people who may know of me or who say they're inspired by my words and things like that, man. It's an honor and a privilege from being able to come from a small prison cell to now
Hmm.
the ability to talk all across America.
Did What was the wildest dream you had when you was locked up?
You don't want to hear the wildest dream.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Well, I mean, I guess, if you're a spiritual person,
Mm-hmm.
you start to understand, brother, that it's something spiritual about being alone. Because when you're alone, brother, it forces you to face yourself and deal with yourself.
Hmm.
Sometimes we got a lot of people around us, it's easy for us to hide in that. But
Yeah.
when you're really alone, it forces you to look at yourself and deal completely with yourself. If you look at a scriptural story, say like when, it said Moses would go on a mountain to meet with God. It means he's by himself.
Right.
When Saul transformed to Paul, he was riding a horse, but he was in front of the rest. When Jesus transfigured on the mountain, he was by himself.
Mm-hmm.
But something about being alone that helps us develop. So I think that alone time helped me develop, and it just after you get in a position like that, it's like you start going over everything to see what you could have done better. And
Mm.
your desire is to redo it. You know what I mean? Because I had 25 to 50 years, I wasn't coming out, right?
Mm.
So it's like, damn, all I could do was think, man, if I could do it over, what I would do better. And then when I got blessed with the opportunity, I took advantage of it and did better. And here we are today.
Yo, that's crazy. Like when the just told you you got 25 to 50 and you hear that gavel,
Hmm.
what was the first thought?
And I was a fool at that time. I was laughing. I was such an ignorant young man at that point.
Mm.
I didn't understand the weight of it. So I'm
Hmm.
laughing, talking trash to the judge. I think the Pistons had just won the championship. So I was saying bad boy, this type of thing. And it wasn't funny, you know. Um, so you really don't reflect on it again until you get put in that cell by yourself. And
Hmm.
they give you a little plastic thing for a bed and a little plastic thing for a pillow. And you're looking down at a tin toilet and a little bowl to wash your face, man. And then the weight of it hits you like, wow, I'm here. Or you're in the cell and you know the people who you thought was your people,
Right.
you don't hear,
Right.
you don't see them, you don't hear from 'em, the letter doesn't come. And these things, they add up and then they start making you reflect. So it's a serious position to be in, man. And but it makes you, if you deal with it properly, if you face it,
Hmm.
makes you a stronger human being.
Kind of reminds me of Job.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for those people that ain't too familiar with the story, basically God and the devil was shooting dice one night with a man's life in limbo. Basically, the devil was allowed to destroy everything about this man to see if he could break him so that he would curse God. He never did and got everything back in abundance.
Yep, definitely. And in this case, the devil is you, right?
Yeah.
Because you dismantle yourself. You're the cause of your own destruction. Now, I'm
Mm.
taking away the nonsense that we've been taught by our former slave masters. I'm not taking away the foolishness that's been injected in us,
Mhm.
making us other than ourselves. But at the very base of it, we're responsible for our own self-destruction.
Yeah.
So that's the devil, right? Where we destroy ourselves. That's the fight of Job. It's all going on inside you, brother. You know what I mean? That battle is taking
Hmm.
right inside you. Good over evil. Will you remember God? Will you remember whose image and likeness you were created in? Or will you submit to the weaker self? And that cell makes you do that. Or somebody on the streets, the prostitution and the things that a woman may go through in that life may force her to, just because the only thing she could hold on to is God. A guy who's on drugs in a drug house, man, he hits rock bottom, then he understands the only person around him, the only thing left is God. So it helps them come up because they still recognize that it's got to be a power out here greater than me. It got to be a power out here stronger than this drug or stronger than this prison. I gotta find that power.
Mm. Man. Oh, and I'm sorry. I want to make sure that I do say rest in peace, young Dolph. Um, and what I've been seeing, over the last day or so is a lot of us blaming haters and people not being able to be successful and go back home for the reason that this young man was murdered. And I will say one thing, and we putting a lot of negativity in the air, myself included at times. And we got to be more conscious of the energy we putting out there, especially when we got a larger audience.
I agree with that. Um, I do understand sometimes that our young brothers are just articulating what we gave them.
Yeah.
I remember, I forget who said it, but I know it was a masterpiece album, and the guys,
Hmm.
no, this was Tupac. Tupac said, somebody has to explain to me why I ain't got shit. Excuse the language. But that's the term that he used, you know,
Hmm.
because he's saying, I'm born into poverty. And I could
That's
look
not my
across,
fault.
I could look across the way and see white kids born in luxury.
Hmm.
So somebody has to explain to me why, So then you get these kids that trying to articulate their condition and try to articulate what they're going through. And most of it is real experiences, but and unfortunately they don't get to grow to a point of a Jay-Z, for instance, who says, I'm not in the halls, in the hallway all day,
Right.
I'm in the hallway all day.
Exactly.
I don't have to rap like I'm on the block. Or they don't graduate like, say, Ice Cube, who went
Yes.
and then now he's doing children movies, and things like that. So it is very unfortunate. And we have to figure out a way to help our young people, man. All of the hip hop artists that we have in the area of Detroit, man, we try to put our arms around them. And we, when I say we, I'm talking about the Nation of Islam. We work with all of them, man. And when they come through, I always call, and I'll, security. I don't charge them or anything like that. If they want to pay, that's their decision to pay them. But call me. I want to make sure that you're all right. I want to make sure you're safe, because you do have, they say haters, but envy and jealousy is real. And that's what we learned in the biblical scriptures when you see Cain and Abel.
Facts.
Cain was upset because God didn't accept his offering. Abel didn't do anything to him. Abel's offering was just accepted, but Abel isn't the one who rejected Cain, but Cain rose up and slew Abel. And that's a story for us. Another story is Judas and Jesus. It was envy and jealousy. If you read the story, it came a point where Mary was washing Jesus's feet with oil. And Judas walks in the door and he said, "Oh, we could have used that for something better." That envy and jealousy comes out, and then eventually it causes him to betray his master. We're seeing this over and over again in our communities, man.
Yeah.
With those youngsters who come out and try to find a better way. And
I mean, but let's be honest though, bro, too. Like, and I rock with the whole Detroit wave, the whole movement. But there's probably 5 or 6 brothers that if God forbid something happened to them, I wouldn't be surprised. Like some of the venom that they are projecting towards each other, it ain't just Detroit. Like each city, like some of the stuff you hear out of New York from dudes from the Bronx talking about Brooklyn dudes or wherever, is like they didn't took disrespect to a whole nother level. It's almost as if the other person, if you see him, you have to do something or you're no longer credible in the streets.
It's because we've become so sick that we applaud disrespect. We've become so sick that instead of breaking a fight up, we'll videotape the fight and post it for others to see. And then you look at the fight and you see 19, 20,000 views, but you have a positive show like this or a positive show like the shows that you've been recording over the years, and you get 10 views. You know what I mean? So it's the mindset of the people that's feeding this crap. I remember hearing a story. The minister was invited years ago to an Eddie Murphy show. Eddie Murphy invited him to the show. I believe it was his son. He said, "Dad, I don't know if you want to go to this show." So the minister went, and Eddie doing his thing. And the minister said, I wasn't, at every point, I didn't just focus on Eddie, but I looked at the people. And the more raunchy Eddie got, the more loud the people got as far as wanting more, right?
Right.
So the people feed this stuff, man. And it gets to a point where we're going to have to start turning our back on this foolishness. Turning our back when somebody puts their video up of some young lady getting assaulted and everybody watching it and or we're video. We have to get to the point where we, get that mess out of my face, man. Because people are doing it now for the attention. And like you said, the words go back and forth. We tune in, and then when the
Yeah.
brothers run into each other, they feel like
Yeah.
they have to do something to each other.
Yeah. You know, it's like your whole brand is on the line at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yes.
shouldn't be that way. You know, it used to be if you reach a certain level of success, it didn't matter which side the gang spear you was on. Everybody recognized your level of success, and you got to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm pretty sure over the years, Snoop has gotten passes from Bloods because he's Snoop.
Right.
You know,
The whole
and
level.
yeah, they
But,
don't. They now it ain't the same.
yeah, but it's that mindset, and it's a mindset. Unfortunately, it's in our community, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't read about the monkeys beefing with the Beatles, man. You know what I mean? Like pulling guns with the Beatles. So it's something, man. We have to shake as a people, man. And everything that you do when you try to do shows like this, you're contributing to change because all it takes is one to hear it, and then that one he becomes something, and then he talks to two and three. It's gonna happen. I'm confident that it's gonna happen because we've been blessed to witness the best in our young people and the worst at the
Yeah.
same. When you talk about a Michael Jackson, for instance, born in Gary, Indiana, and under poor circumstances. I went to his childhood home to see it, and the level that he reached, or Venus and Serena coming up in Compton. And of course, we know of one of their older sisters who was murdered in that area, to come up and come out of that and touch the world. So we see the greatness, but then you see the Dolphs and the Nipseys and the worst of us at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we just got to balance it, man.
Well, man, and I want to say I'm proud of you too, man, and thank you for everything you've done for me personally, man.
And we're gonna
Um,
keep it up. We just started, brother.
oh man, tell me
We,
about it, bro.
well,
The Rakim show was so like I'm still like I got that ticket sitting on the table at my front door. I literally look at that ticket every day of my life.
well, I mean, we gotta do the next one and the next one. You'll be there, definitely.
Oh man,
But
I will be there.
the idea of the Rakim show was to attract people in our age group who
Hmm.
at least have the mindset of balance that a lot of us have,
Hmm.
and then try to get that group to help that younger group, right?
Yeah,
Because, our age group, we still have a level of credibility and respectability with the younger group
yeah,
based upon our approach. So I was trying because I look at Detroit, and I can only use Detroit as an example. But most of the organizations that are doing some great things in the community are led up by men who were formerly incarcerated, men who fall in the age range between 40 and 50,
hmm
38, 38 and 50. So those are the men who I wanted to attract, and women, so that we can use their energy in this fight as well.
you did a great job, man. And from every person I talked to or saw, man, it was lovely. And just for people out there that were unfortunately you weren't there, but it was I don't know maybe 150 people
It was
listening to
actually 270 people.
270
And
people.
we limited that number, because
Yes,
social distancing and things like that. And it was our first time doing something like that. But we wanted to make sure some great ones were there. So you were in the room. We had some politicians in the room. We had some judges in the room. We had some artists in the room. We had a little bit of everything. Mayors in the room. Uh, and it was
it was dope.
a good combination. And then a lot
Yes.
of convicts in the room. So it was a good balance. And, we got a lot of energy out of that. In fact, I talked to the leadership of the Mathis Center, Judge Mathis Center, and Judge
Hmm.
Mathis. Judge Mathis, they want to be involved with it as well. So we're expanding it out, man, and we're going to be doing some great things. We got an event. One of the brothers involved,
Hmm.
uh, he's we're doing it in North Carolina on the 11th. The same event, but in a different state. So we're going to try to
That's
move
nice.
all around the country.
That's nice right there, man. And you got the God MC was taking questions from the audience.
That's
Shit,
how
it
they
was,
are. That's how they are
man,
going.
it was
You know,
so epic.
so we're going to try to get conscious artists, not just old school artists. We're starting there, but we're going to get
Mhm.
young artists as well, and they're going to do that question and answer thing, man. So we could bring some balance to the situation.
There's a cat here that's very dope, bro.
What's his name?
Very dope. Connie Son.
Okay,
Very, very dope, bro.
hook us up, man, and we can make some stuff
Oh,
happen.
absolutely, man. And like he's like for a few years now, like when people like, oh, I can't hear no music, that turn on his music.
Yeah.
You know, my guy Tay Uhuru, he's pretty dope too. He's from Cleveland too.
Okay.
Um, and actually, he gives tours in Africa.
Mm.
Yeah, he's been to I want to say like 75 countries or some crazy number like that.
Well, you got to go with us. We planning a trip in maybe a year from now. We're starting to plan it right now. It's gonna be a big group of soldiers, man. We're gonna all go down there because we need to go. We got a couple brothers from Africa who will be leading us, and of course we have Nation of Islam representatives down there who can give us some insight as well. But we're doing a big trip.
Man, I'm so scared to fly, bro.
Well, you're gonna have to eventually, brother.
I'm
That's
so
why,
scared.
why you want to stay near the Great Lakes?
No, no, it's the water for that. Like I can drive anywhere in this country and damn near half.
We got to.
So
I don't want to. I don't appreciate a 24-hour flight myself,
oh,
but I gotta make that trip, brother. I've traveled all around the country, and I go to, I went to the place where Emmett Till was murdered.
mm,
Went to the exact spot where they pulled his body out the river. I saw the weapons that were used to massacre his body. I saw the truck that his
mm,
body was put in. I went to where Nat Turner was killed. I went to the jail where they held him at. I went to the area and some of the houses where he and the great men who were with him, fought for freedom. You
mm,
know, where Booker T. Washington is buried. George Washington Carver is buried. I just posted a picture on the bus that Rosa Parks sat on. Um, these things are, and when you go to these places, man,
mm,
you leave. You gotta understand me on this. You leave stronger, like you've
mm,
picked up something more, man. I traced my slave name and I went to a place called, my slave name is Lumpkin, Lumpkin. I went
mm,
to a place in Virginia called the Lumpkin Jail. It was the worst slave plantation in
mm,
Virginia, man. And then I found out that they found the bodies of hundreds of slaves buried there, shallow graves. And
wow.
they had, they're my people. So I just
Mm,
laid there on the grass, brother, where they found these bodies at. And, I left there a different person.
mm,
I've been to Malcolm X's grave. So I've been to the gravesite of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. I went to see where Dr. King was buried
mm,
and assassinated. You know, just to feel the those places, man, and the impact of those on our world. You don't walk away the same, you know. And I know Africa would have a whole,
Yeah. Yeah.
whole different level of feeling um,
Oh.
when you stand in what they call a point of no return uh,
Oh.
in these things, brother. So
Yeah.
I got to make that trip.
Oh, my whole life, man, I've dreamt of going to see the pyramids.
So that's what you got to do then. It
That's,
don't be a dream, brother. You God. That's what the teachings. And you made in the image and likeness of God. You don't have to dream, brother. You say be, and it is, man. You say and do the things to make it happen. That's your power, man.
and the sad part about it is about 10 years ago I looked it up and I'm like, I, this is not out of the realm of my financial possibility.
It's
I could
not
act. It's not.
right. It's not. It's like plan, and it's a trip you would have to plan anyway. It's for
Yeah,
about a year and a half.
but
So
it's definitely doable.
put away a little bit here, a little bit there. You good, man.
Yeah. And since I stopped smoking cigarettes, my God, I should have been putting that money up. That'd have been my money right there.
Yeah, that's another 500 a month.
Damn near. Because
Now,
oh my goodness, 'cause I was smoking a lot
yeah.
of cigarettes. So yeah, that's one of the best things that have happened to me over the last couple of years.
Hmm.
It's been May will be what, 2 years?
That's wonderful, man. That's what we were talking about at study group last night. Loving
Mhm.
yourself, and loving yourself isn't just looking at yourself in the mirror and saying I'm black, proud, say it loud. But loving yourself is knowing, you got eyes, man.
Yeah.
That's special. A heart that pumps blood throughout your body, and looking at your hands and realizing what your hands do for you every day. Loving yourself says, okay, man, I like it, but I'm not gonna eat that cheeseburger, or I'm not gonna drink that Pepsi or that Hennessy or whatever it is, or I'm not gonna do things to damage my vessel because that's how I'm gonna stay here, and that's how I'm gonna continue to accomplish. I don't want to cripple it.
Mhm.
I don't want to cripple it with diabetes. I don't want to cripple it with high blood. I don't want to cripple it with cancer. So I have to do things that, discourage these things. And these are signs of real self love.
Hmm.
So that's a step when you said, okay, I got to stop this. Because you could have said, well, I like doing it, so I'm going to keep doing
That was the goal. I had a plan. I was just going to keep smoking until about 60, 65 and die of cancer.
it. That's
That
the
literally, yeah.
be George Burns and live to you.
Like, man, that dude smoking stogies the whole time.
Right.
Maybe I was smoking the wrong thing. Either way, man, I'm kind of glad I'm not. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that?
I got the Instagram, Troy Muhammad. I'm on Instagram. Troy Muhammad. I'm on Facebook. I don't have inbox though because I get so much crazy stuff through inboxes. So
I can imagine.
yeah. So just comment. If it's an issue that you need help in dealing with, or you want some insight or some help on some, just comment under any photo, man, and let me know, and I'll reach right back out. That's
And
how.
that's an absolute fact. I know that to be the truth myself. Um, very, very, very good brother. I
Man,
don't care who you pray to. You can pray to a pink fucking elephant. Minister Troy Muhammad is still gonna be a good brother to you.
definitely. Definitely.
So,
When he comes in contact with people, um, it was an incident. I say real fast. Some
mhm,
guy came to the minister and he was talking kind of off and a bit kind of crazy in our opinion. And when I
mhm,
people were sitting around the table, but once he was done talking, the minister responded, and later the minister pointed out. He said, "I could see that you guys were kind of anxious and wanted him to to go,
mhm,
but you don't understand that when I listen to people, no matter who it is or how crazy they may sound or look," he said, "I listen for God in the person."
mhm.
And that's the point that we have to get at. We can't judge each other by the labels that we have, by the clothes that we have, by the religion that we're under. We have to look for God in the person, because each human being is created in the image and likeness of God, and there's something special in each human being. And you have to be open to that so that it can come out. But if you're judging a person before they have a chance, man, it never happens.
Yeah, and meet Minister Farrakhan is an event in somebody's life.
Yep.
So it's nice to hear he wow, just sounds like a really dope individual. I mean,
Man,
sorry for the
he,
analogy or
he's the real deal, man. I'm not, me and you've sat down and talked
Mhm.
in different environments, and I'm not no religious nut or no crazy dude, one of them dudes. I'm telling you for real, the minister is the truth, man. He is absolutely, when you see him speak, he's no different in person, man. He's a very special human being. He loves our people. He loves God, and that's the only thing I've seen from him. I've never seen him do anything frivolous, man. Even his jokes have knowledge tied to him. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, I've never seen a human being like that. So I'm honored to be able to say I'm his representative and try my best to represent him wherever I go. And I know for a fact that I'm nowhere close to where he is and who he is, but I'm honored to try to represent him to the best of my ability.
You're doing a damn good job, bro.
Praise be to God.
In my humble opinion. On that note, man, I know you got things to do. I'm gonna let you get up out of here, man. It is always an honor to chop it up with you, and I want to thank you for stopping by.
No, my honor and my privilege, man. I want you to keep doing what you're doing, and I want you to be involved in what we're doing here. So you're gonna
You
have to
already
get
know, man.
get on the road a little more often, man. And then you're gonna have to make the connect with Dave Chappelle up there so we can come up that way.
If I could do that, absolutely. All right, man. You have a good one, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, peace.